Hi, I'm Chance, and back at you with Game Table Adventures. And today we're going to talk about something particularly special. The Dragonlance campaign setting for 3.5 D&D. Beautiful book. Let's talk about it. Before we get into the book review proper, I know you guys probably want to take a look at what's inside this little tome. I have an interesting history with Dragonlance. I read these books back, well, several of them, back when I was in middle school. And it really was a big step for me. They were some of the earliest non-sci-fi novels that I read. Science fiction being something that I'm big with. But Dragonlance, as a setting, as books, had kind of an interesting effect on me as a DM, as a player, as a fan of fantasy. The idea of dragon riders, and good dragon riders, and bad dragon riders, and all the crazy shenanigans that go into Dragonlance. But I've also had a lot of negative gaming experiences with this campaign setting. And I know that's not everyone. But I've heard some horror stories of other people's experiences with Dragonlance. And sometimes it feels like this is a great setting that has some negative qualities when actually used in role-playing games. But I'm excited. This is 3.5. I'm a 3.5 guy. So let's get into it. Here we are, getting a good in-depth look at the cover. Margaret West, Dawn Perrin, with James Chambers and Christopher Coyle. Got a nice little forward here at the back. D20 system, Wizards of the Coast. So this isn't my era. This came out around 2003. And is in remarkable condition for being literally 20 years old. This book is an antique. And just look at the detail here. Races and classes and feats, which is, I'm probably not going to get too far into detail, but a lot of this stuff was usable. I mean, yeah. So a lot of information on dragons, because dragons in this setting differ somewhat from that of other settings. We'll go ahead and flip through a little bit. Here's the races chapter. Some of the artwork is great. And even if these are characters from the books, I wouldn't recognize necessarily, because what you see in your head when you read a novel is not necessarily what you see when somebody depicts it, somebody other than you depicts it in artwork. Dwarves. Got the various kinds of dwarves. I always thought gully dwarves were kind of a funny little idea. Here we go, gully dwarves. They're kind of mentally special. Gully dwarf lands, religion. It's kind of hard to imagine gully dwarves having a religion. +2 dexterity, +2 constitution, -4 intelligence, -4 in charisma. Jesus, these would be hard to play. Yeah, they are definitely an interesting race to play. Elves. Got some nice artwork of elves here. Some interesting things. Trying to see if I can find Sylvanesti, I believe, are a type of elf. Let's see. I don't see any artwork for Sylvanesti, but +2 intelligence, +2 dexterity, -2 constitution, -2 charisma. Yeah, so half elves. And we've got sea elves. So the Sylvanesti are elves. I wasn't sure if I remembered that correctly or not. You could use these races in other campaign settings, or your DM might want to snag things here or there. That was the beauty of 3.5. It was all so cookie cutter that you could just swap things about and just grab what you needed for a D&D campaign. And I think a lot of people did that at the time. Here we go. Bane of my existence. Kender. Fuck my life. Everybody plays a Kender like a raging psychopath. I have never seen somebody play a Kender without it being out of hand. And a little half pocket, to be fair. Oh, but I steal shit without knowing. They have some crazy abilities. Some people take them a little too far. And we got centaurs. Beautiful artwork, by the way. And this is from Wizards, the people who make Magic the Gathering. So, you know that it's going to have good artwork, no matter what. Draconians, the original dragon people. Oh, God, they were so cool and so evil. Well, not all of them were evil. I think some of them were metallic, but most of them were chromatic. I don't know. It's been so long. I was 12 when I read the books. But they've got a level adjustment. They're still pretty cool. They're a dragon. They're a race of dragon people. What do you fucking want, right? Capic. Racial traits. +2 dex, +2 con, -2 intelligence, -2 wisdom. Oh, man. This makes me think about running. You know, I'm currently running a 3.5 campaign with Sam and Josh and other friends. It is just so good to sit here and real books, man. Real books are where it's at. The ogre races. So the next few races are going to be ogres. No, I do not think these ones are like onions, but hey, who fucking knows? Just a lot of beautiful artwork. Half ogres. And ogres in this setting, I believe, kind of took the place of orcs. It is just great. And here we get into Chapter 2. Now, in most 3.5 books, they have a very definitive chapter beginning page that is like, the text doesn't start till about here. And anybody who's seen one knows what I'm talking about. Lots of artwork. This kind of skips that and just goes Chapter 2. And then we get over here into feats. And some pretty impressive feats, too. These are the gods, deities. But let's see if I can find the feats. This is all covering... Oh, we've got the mystic. This is a spellcaster of some kind. I haven't actually played in the Dragonlance campaign setting. I believe this is a divine caster. Yep, divine caster right there. Casts divine spells chosen from the cleric's spell list. So this is pretty much just a cleric. We'll move on from that. The noble. I believe this was meant as an NPC class. No, this seems to be a full-on class. There is a lot of politicking. Look at the beautiful artwork. A lot of politicking in Dragonlance. And I think that's kind of well covered there. It's from a book series I haven't read since I was 12. I feel like I should pick those books up in audiobook form. Maybe listen to them while I'm painting. Look at that, though. It is just a gorgeous book. And then we're starting to get here into prestige classes. Knight of the Crown. Knight of the Sword. Knight of the Rose. Those guys were pretty cool. There was that one character who was a member of the Knight of the Rose. I can't remember his name. Fuck. And this is from a setting that the last time I read a book from it, I was 12, so that would have put that 23 years ago. Literally 3 years before this book came out. Dragons of the Autumn Twilight and Winter Night, I believe. Comment down below and let me know if I'm misstating the titles. Or if you feel like saying something about Dragonlance, go ahead and feel free to share your stories or ask questions. Knight of the Skull. Knight of the Thorn. A lot of really cool artwork. I wish I had the ability to really steal Legionary. Nice. Huh. Looks like kind of a ranger thing going on here. I wish I had the ability to really go in detail with these books and just, give you more than a cursory flip through while I talk, but artwork is just gorgeous. And that was one of the things with these 3.5 books. They really put in the work. And it shows. Dragon Rider. Oh my god. Dragon Cohort, Mounted Attack, Dragon Feet, Empathic Communication. Oh my god. And the requirements to become a Dragon Knight. Oh, must have ridden a dragon. Dragon Riders are so fucking cool. The idea, like, this is just what the setting was about, in my opinion. The Dragon Riders. And, oh my god. The alignments, the effective character level. Just everything laid out so nice and neat. That was one of the advantages of 3.5. The fact that everything was so concise. You could look, like say you look here, requirements. You meet the requirements, good. Okay, skills that you get as class skills from this class. Bam, skill points. And then special features of the class. And then here at the table, it's always nice. Here's your level, find your level. Here's your BAB, that's your BAB. Fort, reflex, will, your saving throws, and then your special abilities that you get from the various levels. It was so neatly packaged, so clean. And I feel like they've kept a lot of that clean formatting for 5th edition. Not so much for 4th, but we'll get into that in another time. Oh man, there are so many cool things, and there is just not enough time in the day. Fuck me. But this is 3.5, baby. This is some good shit. And this is Dragonlance. Ironically, one of the most popular game systems, or game settings, that Dungeons & Dragons has ever had. Almost everybody knows Dragonlance. It had dragon riders and cool shit. Let's see. Cornered Rat. Draconian Breath Weapon. Oh, it is just... Yeah, see, some pretty cool feats. And they're laid out nicely. Feats were not as powerful in 3.5 as they are in 5th. And you got more of them more often. Someday when I get a chance to review a player's handbook, sadly my collection does not include one, nor do the collections of my friends at the moment, I will go over some of the spectacular ways that was laid out. It was a book that was just so good. Here we go. We're starting to get into the floor and fluff of the world, and I really wish I had the time to just deep dive it with you guys here. But man, if look at this. Look at how well laid out this is. This is shit you see from the novels. This is a fucking calendar. You can actually track a campaign and its progress through real in-time, in-game months and seasons and shit. And the moons, Academy of Sorcery, Divine Magic. I haven't seen any new spells, but that's probably later in the book. Mysticism. The Gods and Magic. Magic went away for a while in Dragonlance, I believe. Something happened. Here we are. We're into Cleric and Mystic domains. This is new spells. Just look at this. It's always cool to see. There were literally so many spells that just fucking fantastic shit for 3.5. They were cranking out new content on an almost monthly basis. And it was such a popular game system. And it was kind of a renaissance time for D&D, I feel. 3.0 didn't go over so well. And even my game group, when I was a kid and a teenager, we didn't really switch over to 3.0. But 3.5 came out, and it was cleaner, it was more balanced, it looked better. It was a little more accessible, I feel. Or at the very least, more people were getting into it, so it felt more accessible. I spent a lot of my time in high school playing D&D, and it is just a blast from the past. Wow. Look at this. Spark Shield. I don't know what it is, but it sounds fucking cool. Oh, wow, it actually is pretty cool. Huh. Ooh. Yep, that's talking about the Dragonlance. The lance that kills dragons dead. It's like Raid. Cosmology. What the hell? This is crazy shit. I've never actually taken a look at this book before today. If I remember correctly, Kryn is kind of sealed off from the rest of the planes. And there's a lot of reasons. I think the only time it really crosses over is when one of the main villains from Dragonlance ends up in the demi-plane of Dread, Ravenloft, which is a setting I hope to get to hit some books from. And that has some history that is just too good. The artwork here is just sublime. And look at this. Just look at this. Depicts the lance. All the Celtic knotwork. just looks so good. Oh, God. D&D done right. 3.5 was just epic. Oh, man. This goes into some serious, heavy dogma and lore about the gods, their emblems, what they're all about. And now we're getting into... This is some heavy lore. Oh, a map of the world. Now, sometimes they include a map like this in the book. Sometimes they have the map kind of detach, and then you can, unfold it and shit. This is just nice and easy. You can flip it open. It's got a nice map legend, easily readable. It is just... Dragonlance didn't get as much attention as Forgotten Realms, and I feel like it just didn't get as many books. Alana Starbreeze. Such a nice name. Cool character design. You can really tell that Wizards knew what they were doing when it came to aesthetically designing these books. Just look at that. The artwork is gorgeous. The formatting is gorgeous. This goes into great detail with each section of the world. Its cities, its countries, its continents, its kingdoms. Oh, man. This book is just lit. As in legit. Alright, I'll stop. I'll see myself out. Fuck. There's just no way, I'm not really good at reading things out loud. I'm dyslexic. So even though I can read it, like, important sites, shit like that, when I try to read out loud, I end up fumbling and gargling my words, and it is fucking awful. But this book is just so cool. Alright, I'm going to turn this so that you guys can look at the map. Just look at it. This is Knights of Naraka. Where the races live. Their distributions. Political map. There is so much detail in this world that it is astounding. And it's not that thick a book, but they really packed it in. The artwork's good. I think Rastlin is one of the characters I'm thinking of. Was he Dragonlance? Oh god, if you know, comment down below. Let me know, because I am probably fucking this up pretty bad. Let's see. Gerald Uth Mondar. Sounds intimidating as shit. Oh, man. This is about running a Dragonlance campaign. Some good artwork. I'm going to stop here and there. But I'm trying to get us through until something interesting pops out at me. Oh, shit. Separate rules on coinage. Nope, that's living languages. Where did I see coinage? I must be fucking tripping. Or I missed it. And we're just going to carry on. I always love when campaign setting has its own monetary system. I know, it sounds super nerdy of me, but I just I dig it. Because money was only kind of standardized in ancient times. I mean, gold and silver, precious metals and gems, they all had value. Every kingdom stamped their own coins for the most part. I think that really started with the Roman Empire, but I can't be sure. I'm not a historian. Sample Death Knight. And just some of this artwork it's breathtaking. And, you know, oh, wow. I hope to get a chance. I don't know if I'll ever run a campaign in Dragonlance. I think you'd have to have the right DM and the right players and the right mindset. And people have expectations of Dragonlance because, like me, for a lot of people, it is a childhood memory. It is important. And here we've got the dragons. Chromatic dragons, dragons of Krynn, information on how the dragons deviate from their normal D&D counterparts. I think the dragons of Krynn look fucking super dope. Oh man, I'd want to ride a silver dragon. Look at that. Just look at that. It looks chill as fuck. Some rules for aerial combat that were just not covered. That is some crazy shit. If I had known that was in here, oh my god. I may have to reference this PDF-wise next time I'm running a campaign with aerial combat. Flying mounts and shit. Oh, just look at that. Oh. Fantastic, really fantastic. But fucking trains. You know, you can't get away from them no matter where you go. And kids, and dogs, and everything that makes noise. I don't have the money for a fancy smancy area. At the moment, my YouTube hobby is simply that, a hobby. But feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. Yeah, selfish, shameless plug for myself. 'Cause I like money. What the fuck? Oh wow, it's an actual order form for Dragon Magazine and shit. Oh wow. So that's in the book. That's part of the book. I imagine most people carefully cut that out with an X-Acto knife. I know I would have. We're here into some end of the book shit. Great artwork though. And I am half expecting to find a campaign setting specific character sheet at the end of this book. Maps of... Nope. No such luck. What a book. Well, that's been Dragonlance Campaign Setting Guide. My thoughts on it. How to kind of sum up what I feel. I love 3.5 D&D. It's my favorite system. It probably always will be my favorite system. But it was the system that was at the heyday of my gaming. And it's the system I use today. It was the system I first started DMing regularly. Without stumbles, without problems, I could get through the system, I could run a campaign, and I could make sure everything stayed balanced. And there were still stumbles and fumbles along the way. I love Dragonlance. It is a set of books that I will always look back on fondly. If you can get a hold of this on the used secondary market and you want it, buy it. If you're a 3.5 player like myself, this is definitely worth tracking down. Or get a PDF. Book's out of print, and I'd love to see Wizards of the Coast start printing older books again. Believe me. There is nothing like the tactile feel and smell of a real book. It's alive with use. This one is so pristine. I think I may be the first person to have actually flipped through it. According to Rich, he got it given to him as a gift, and it went in the collection. So, I may be very well one of only a small handful of people who have fucking touched this book. Pretty impressive. But I think that kind of wraps up what we're doing with this. So, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll catch you later with another game table adventure. Keep adventuring.